Welcome, friends, and Happy New Year. I'm Yvonne Davis, and I'm going to take you through the most important days in January 2021. There are basically 4 days that are the most important astrologically, and interestingly enough, they relate to some very important political events as well. So I'm going to take you through that. Before I get started, I just want to thank everyone who signed up for workshops and readings during this time period where I had the workshops and reading specials. And the link is still below because there are a few people who asked me to give them a little extra time. So I'm going to do that. And if you ordered a reading and have not seen an email receipt from me, please email me at admin@yvonnedavis.com. Check your spam folder first because sometimes it goes into spam. And if you can't find it, then definitely email me and let me know that you haven't received it so we can get your appointment set. Okay, so I think that's everything I needed to say, except maybe one more thing, which I'll also add at the end, which is that there's going to be some really powerful alignments this month for transformation. And I made a video that I put on my other Freedom channel that will help you with personal transformation if that's interesting to you. I'll be talking about the alignments from a more personal perspective. So you can click on the link above or at the end of this video, or I'll put it in the description box below or pinned to the top of the comments so you can easily find that. Okay, let's go look at the charts. So I'm going to pull up the first one. Like I said, there are actually 4 dates in January 2021 that are most important. The first one is January 6th. So this, of course, relates to a very important date politically. And some good news I want to share with you. I know that, the news, because this is how they make their money, they want to get your eyeballs glued to the screen. And so they're always telling you all the scary stories. But honestly, as I said before, there is literally no way mathematically that the election can be overturned, because both the House and the Senate would have to vote in favor of throwing out delegates from different states. So as an example, both the House and Senate would have to vote to throw out the delegates for the Pennsylvania election. The Democrats in the House will never vote for that. So there's literally no mathematical way that the election can ever be overturned, because the Democrats control the House. And even though they lost a few seats in this past election, they'll still control the House. So there's no way that the House is ever going to vote to overturn those delegates. And in order for that to happen, both the House and Senate have to vote to make that happen. The House isn't going to vote that way ever. So there's mathematically absolutely no way the election can ever be turned. And, Mitch McConnell has said very publicly that he has no intention of trying to overturn the election or the Electoral College. So, there's not enough support in either the Senate and definitely not in the House. And even beyond that, even if by some bizarre alternate reality, somehow both the House and the Senate voted to overthrow the delegates for a state like Pennsylvania, which had 20 delegates, that's still not enough. They would have to do that for multiple states. So it's just, it's just political theater. That's all it is. So one other thing, interesting news that I saw was that the Vice President Pence, he's basically made it publicly clear that he has no intention of trying to overturn the election or dispute it. He'll go through his role announcing who the winner was, Biden and Harris. So, so these were the most important players. And, Mitch McConnell and Pence have both made it clear that they have no intention of throwing out the state certified election results or the Electoral College. So they'll, so that's that. Anyway, it's over. This is just a formality. But what's going to happen astrologically is that when people who are holding on to this fantasy of some kind of alternate reality have to face the fact that that alternate reality is not going to come to pass, they're pretty much going to flip their lids. And that's what the astrology is saying. So with the moon moving into opposition to Mars and Uranus, Mars moving closer and closer to Uranus, the moon squaring Mercury, which is still pretty much in a conjunction with Pluto. This is people flipping their lids. Okay. I said it for basically midnight after the January 6th events occur, because that's when people will start to have to face reality. And some of these people are unfortunately going to go off the deep end. And then a week later, we get to the next most important event, which I will show you the chart for that. That's the Capricorn new moon conjunct Pluto. So let me show you that. Okay, so let's go back and look at the new moon on January 12th. That's Capricorn new moon conjunct Pluto on January 12th, 2021. So looks like this one happens, interestingly enough, as midnight comes around. Also, we have the new moon conjunct Pluto. And the reason why this is important is because Pluto is the planet of transformation. And so what Pluto does is it starts with some place where there is a weakness or shadow, and it brings it out from the depths, because Pluto is the god of the underworld where these things are hidden. So any kind of corruption or obsession, things that people cannot let go of, their shadow, you know, all that stuff that's normally hidden, it comes up to the surface. So this is an example of the people who cannot let go. They're obsessed. This is an all or nothing kind of energy. They're completely obsessed. They can't let go. And so they're, you know, this full moon, I mean, this new moon in Capricorn conjunct Pluto basically gives us a choice. You can either hold on to your obsessive thoughts and not let go, even though karma is saying you have to let go. And, you know, you're just going to do something insane because you're in this crazy all or nothing, life or death kind of obsession, and you won't let go. Or you can choose personal transformation. Now, if you choose personal transformation, where you realize that your power is actually inside of you, not external to you, then you get all the benefits of that transformation. You become much more empowered. And once you become more empowered, you are able to gain the wealth that comes with that power. So you transform your lead, which is the stuff that's holding you back, into the golden light of power. And so the people who will do their inner work will get all of those benefits. That's why I'm suggesting that you go check out my other video on how to use this alignment for personal transformation over on my Freedom channel. Okay, so obviously there are going to be some people who just cannot let go of their obsessions, and one of those people is Donald Trump. So let's look at his chart with this new moon conjunct Pluto and see what that looks like. So you can see here, new moon conjunct Pluto right over his vertex in his 6th house of work. And this is in opposition to his Saturn. Okay. And, you know, and look at how intense that finger of God is. And, you know, I've been talking about this basically for the past 3 years and on this channel. And many of you have followed me for that long. And, you know, I have talked about this so many times, this finger of God. And it's like, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Yeah, that's what we all wanted to know. And so about a year ago, we thought, well, at least I didn't. I knew I knew it was going to get impeached. I actually predicted it 6 months before it happened, but I knew he wasn't going to get removed from office. And so, yeah, and I honestly, I was even scared he might actually win the re-election. No, don't let that happen. So, but this is the moment. This is the moment that that finger of God finally just does its work. And actually, then, of course, there's another week later, the inauguration events. But this is triggering a complete and total meltdown, not just for Donald Trump, but for all of the Trumpsters, because they cannot face reality. They are obsessed with their narrative. They can't let go. And they don't understand that power is within them, not external to them. And so they are clinging to this narrative and this alternate reality. And they're going to have to face the fact that it's not going to manifest for them. It's not the objective reality, and they can't do it. And so they're going to have complete and total meltdowns. And, we're already seeing Trump doing that. I thought it was really interesting when I read in the news that he was supposed to have this huge New Year's Eve party at Mar-a-Lago, and he left and went back to the White House. If that's not a massive temper tantrum, I don't know what is. Can you imagine throwing a massive New Year's Eve party and then not even showing up for your own party that you're hosting, not even showing up? I don't know if he canceled the whole party for everyone or if he just left. I don't know. But that is proof that he is really, really on the verge of a meltdown, big time. All right, so then let's go on to the next most important date, which comes a week after the new moon, and that's Inauguration Day, which I've been talking about for almost a year now. And you can see what happens on January 20, 2021. I set it for 2 p.m. so that we could see the moon coming in there too. So on this day, Inauguration Day, Mars and Uranus conjoin, and which is a pretty volatile energy, squaring the new government over here, which is the Sun, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury. And then the moon comes in. The moon is the people's emotions and subconscious, and lights the fuse. So this is pretty intense because this is the moment where people, they've already flipped their lids. They're already having a meltdown. And now they just freaking go off the deep end, completely off the deep end. And it's unfortunate because that means that this is going to be, the problem, the challenge that Biden is going to have to deal with in the beginning of his administration. And I'm going to put this on the Sibley chart because it doesn't really have anything to do with any person. Whoever became president would have had to deal with these alignments. And it's interesting because on the Sibley chart, the nodes, which are a karmic point at 6 degrees, the south node at 6 degrees of Aquarius, 36 minutes, the north node at 6 degrees of Pluto, 36 minutes, is being squared by the Uranus-Mars conjunction, and then the moon coming in there and conjoining it. The moon will conjoin it that day, January 20th. I just set it for 2 p.m. so that you could just see the moon moving into Taurus, but it will actually conjoin Mars and Uranus. So Mars and Uranus conjoin on January 20th, and then the moon comes in and joins it too. And that's an extremely explosive energy. And it's also going to conjoin Lilith, which is the apogee of the moon and the shadow. Okay, it represents the shadow. And so we have the shadow in the nation. It's like our nation has a personality, our nation has a soul, a psyche, and this is the shadow of our nation's soul, psyche, personality, whatever you want to call it. And so we have to address this. Now, the way to address it is not by crushing it, the way to address it is through transparency. Okay. So if Biden can run his administration for 4 years in the most transparent and honest way, then that's the way to heal the divide, not by crushing it, not even by pretending it's not there, but by through transparency, you know. So because if you're not transparent, then that's where the lies can fester. But if you're transparent, then there's no, you bring the light of consciousness and transparency and honesty and authenticity and integrity to whatever it is that's festering there in the shadow, and you work toward integration. You don't work toward crushing it, because crushing it just pushes it deeper and deeper and deeper into the shadow. When you push something deep into the shadow, that actually makes it stronger. And as I said before, this apparent conflict that we're having with the square is just an illusion. And by the time that Saturn conjoins Uranus in 12 years, like I said, this is a process that will unfold over the course of 12 years, basically 3 administrations. Then we will finally have resolved this issue and we'll have full integration. But, any of us can be working on that right now. You don't have to wait. So that was the 3rd most important date. And so now I'll take you to the 4th most important date, which is January 28th, 2021. And I'll show you how that lands on Biden's chart. Well, first I'll put it on the Sibley chart, which is the nation's Declaration of Independence chart. And because of the fact that the Sun and Jupiter conjoin at the time of this full moon, and the full moon is right over the nodes, but it's still in a square to the Mars-Uranus conjunction. Okay, so this full moon basically brings it to fruition, and you can see here that the North Node is right over the Mars in the 7th house of others. Okay, so we're working through these conflicts here. And then I'll show you what it looks like on Biden's chart. So again, this shows, this is going to be his first most important challenge in his job. So his very first week, it's like, okay, time to get to work here, dealing with this issue. And you can see here, Saturn, Sun, Jupiter in their conjunction, Moon right over his Pluto, which is his power, in the 9th house of politics. And the 9th house isn't just politics, it's also everything to do with the law, legislation, and public speaking, orating, any kind of information that you put out into the world, publishing, broadcasting, legislation, law, politics, all of that stuff is in the 9th house. And his Pluto is in the 9th house. So Pluto represents his sense of power. And that's where the full moon of the Sun is shining. And the people who are opposing him, Uranus and Mars conjunction, represent the people who are opposing him in his 6th house of work, opposite his Mars, his own sense. So both Mars and Pluto are getting activated in his chart because Pluto is his power, Mars is his warrior. So he basically has to get his warrior on. But this is a spiritual warrior. As I was saying, this isn't about crushing the opposition. This is about bringing honesty, authenticity, transparency, integrity to the table. Because if you have nothing to hide, then you don't need to crush anybody. All you do is just put your cards on the table and say, this is the way it is. This is the truth. This is the evidence. This is transparency. This is honesty. This is integrity. And of course, people will still try to lie, but you can't. Lies don't work in the light of consciousness and transparency. So that's the only way. You know, people who are afraid of the truth are the ones who try to crush their opposition. You don't have to crush your opposition. All you have to do is just be honest. You know, it's simple. It's very simple. And that's the only way that will work. You can't pretend like there's something to hide. If there's nothing to hide, then just put it all out on the table and it'll work itself out. All right, so so that's January 2021. As I said, there are 4 most important dates. 2 of them relate to political events. We've got January 6th, very important. Then a week later, we've got the new moon conjunct Pluto, which is going to be freaking intense. I hope you'll make the most of it and go check out that other video on my Freedom channel to see how you can work with that personally. And then a week after that is Inauguration Day on January 20th. And people, you know, who cannot accept reality are going off the deep end. And then a week later, the January 28th full moon, which kind of brings the whole thing to fruition. So, so it actually, the worst of it actually won't last very long. January will be one of the most difficult months of the year. And once we get through it, you know, those people who are on the side of sanity will accept reality. Those people who can't accept reality will kind of go insane. But the people whose job it is to protect our elected officials and protect the public and the welfare of the public, you know, they're going to do their best to protect everybody. And you know, people who commit crimes will be arrested and go to jail. So as I said in previous videos, you just need to use your own judgment to decide if you feel safe going out in public around this volatile month. I live in Grand Junction, which is actually Trump territory, but I don't have any fear because this community is very homogenous. So, you know, if there's some shooter or something, there's no one to shoot at. I mean, why, you'll be like looking at your neighbor and saying, you know, I'm like Republican Trumpster saying, I'm really angry. You know, Trump didn't get inaugurated. Look at your neighbor. Oh, you're a Trumpster too. Okay, I guess he can't shoot you. Sorry, I maybe shouldn't be making fun of this because I know that, you know, probably there are going to be some innocent people who get hurt. But I often say if you can't laugh, then you just end up crying. So, but I just want you guys to protect yourselves. Okay, so make sure that you're being very conscious and aware of your environment in January, because there may be some very, very loose cannons out there and you don't want to step into the line of fire, so to speak. So if you don't feel safe in your community for some reason, then this is the time to go to the grocery store and get stocked up so that you don't need to, you know, be in those public spaces during this time. And that may sound extreme, but, you know, honestly, if I lived in Michigan right now or Charlottesville, I'd probably be a little nervous. So, but I can't, it's not possible for me to tell you exactly where the violence will erupt. I can tell you the timing with astrology and what will happen at that timing, but I can't tell you exactly where that will happen. So you need to, you know, your environment better than anybody else. So you need to discern what's the right thing for you. All right, so that's it. And like I said, I hope you'll go over to my Freedom channel and check out that other new moon conjunct Pluto video so you can find out how you can work with that personally for personal transformation that will lead to power and wealth for yourself. It's always a good thing to have, right? And also, I'm running my specials for a few more days, so you can check out the link below. And if you did order a reading and haven't yet seen your email receipt to set up an appointment, check your spam. If you still can't find it, then email me at admin@yvonnedavis.com. All right, that's everything I wanted to say. So here we go. We're getting on the roller coaster now. pulling down the safety bar. Up we go. So hold on to your hats and or get your popcorn, whichever you prefer. All right, so I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.